Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. So I'm seeing the room is getting filled up. Thanks for joining today for the info session. So we are going to start promptly in the next 4 minutes. So we're going to allow for people to join in. In the meantime, I'm just going to request you just using the chat function. If you'd like, you can just type in your name, the organization you're representing for this conversation. And if you so like, you can just mention, how your day has started out, just in one word, how the day is looking, how you're feeling today in the morning. So feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. We're going to start in the next 3 minutes. We want to make sure that the room is full before we get started.
What do you usually drink first thing in the morning, Stephen?
Well, I usually start with vodka. No, I do not.
Wow,
Someone was like,
that's
wrong
heavy.
call. No, I take a coffee. I'm a coffee person. So before I have my coffee in the morning, I'm having a bit of a challenge. So I take my coffee in the morning. I'm trying to take more water. That's not working as well. My doctor says I should be taking a mug of water, but whenever I try to do that, I find water tasteless. But I'm seeing we have a couple of introductions. David, Thomas, what do you drink when you wake up in the morning?
I'm always I'm also the coffee addict. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm afraid that's one of my bad habits. But the first thing I do is pressing that button to make me a coffee.
Okay. Well, you look fresh today, so it means you've had your coffee.
Correct. Yes, Frank, how is that for you from BioLab? Or I also see Alex. Alex, you're also on the coffee train.
Yes, Frank says also he likes coffee.
All right.
I think there's some good companies which are represented today. Okay. Good to see that. Okay. A number of you say you take your coffee in the morning. Kipori, what do you drink in the morning? I know Kipori does not take coffee.
White tea.
White tea. Yeah. He's from the Highlands. And for Phyllis, I would bet that he takes some bone soup in the morning.
Some warm water with lemon.
Warm water with lemon. That's also really good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm seeing lots of introductions. Feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. If you've just joined us, we're starting in the next 1 minute. You are in the right call. We're not in the call to discuss what to take for breakfast. It is indeed the Develop Ventures info session. This is the second info session. So glad that you've been able to join us. We are going to start in exactly 1 minute. Okay, coffee and Twitter. Wow. So, okay. And I see
So
that
how you
Jonas
can eat
is
Twitter.
today. But Thomas, I'm sure you probably have not seen the joke, but he says today fasting, coffee and Twitter. Most Kenyans are having Twitter for the day today. So it's a meal that is accompanying your day through the day. But anyway, that's on a different note. So I think it's 11:05, and we did say we want to start promptly on time. We are going to get started. Thank you once more for joining us for today's info session. What we hope to do in the course of the session, which is an hour-long session, is to share more information about the Develop Ventures program, the team that's behind the program. We also want to spend a bit of time just talking about the application process, and then finally to answer questions that you have to support you as you put in your application. The application deadline is June 30th, which is in the next couple of days. So I'll just jump in. So just a few notes here that the Develop Ventures program offers you catalytic capital, and we're going to discuss why we're calling it catalytic capital in a second. Offers you, of course, expert guidance. You get some technical assistance, and of course, growth opportunities for your startup to help you to scale what you're already doing and solve the challenges that you're looking to address in the ecosystem. And just to speak a bit about the team that's behind the program, I will introduce myself last, but I'd like to quickly invite the team from DEG Impulse. that is the overall program management team. I think Nicholas should be in the call. And Nicholas, if you'd like to just say hello and maybe introduce the rest of the team from the DG Impulse team.
I don't see him in the call yet.
Okay. So am I gonna have to save the best for last? And maybe Sven, is Sven here? I don't think Sven is here either. Okay. Not yet. We're going to save the best for last, but the overall team that's managing the program is the DG Impulse team led by Julia. And of course, there's also Niklas, Leah, and Sven. Hopefully, you'll get to meet with a number of them if you go all the way through the due diligence process. But let me first of all invite the main implementation partner, VC4A, and I'm going to invite Thomas to say one or two words about VC4A and say hello and introduce the rest of the team. Thomas.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot, Stephen. So my name is Thomas Van Halen, and I'm with the VC4A team. VC4A is proud to support the Develop Ventures program, not only in beautiful Kenya, but also in Rwanda and Tanzania. And my highlight is always to meet so many great companies along the journey. I always feel so humble when I hear all about your stories. Today, again, we would love to hear from you because in the end, these info sessions are hosted for you to answer any questions on the current call for applications. So we are here to help you with your application if needed. And very much looking forward to receive the forms. And please, again, we will mention it a couple of times today. But make sure to complete your form as soon as possible and don't wait till the final minutes because we do have a hard cut at June 30 at midnight. So as we all know, internet can do crazy things these days. So please make sure to not wait till the dying seconds and just work on it now that time is still on your side. Okay, good luck and looking forward to the conversation today.
Okay, thanks, Thomas. And Thomas, you say midnight East African time, right? Because there's people who interpret midnight and then it keeps shifting based on where you are. So we're going to be using Kenya time for this. So midnight Kenya time.
Exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
My name is Stephen Gugu, and I'm joined with a brilliant team from Victoria Ventures. So I'd like them to just say hello as I plug my power cable on because it's my computer is just about to go off. For some reason, I forgot to do that. So Phyllis, probably you can say hello and also then you pass it to Kip Korir and then I'll just take over. Just give me 1 second. I'm just putting on my power.
Okay, thanks so much, Stephen. So my name is Phyllis Mbiu. I'm the communications lead supporting in the Develop Ventures program. And I know I've been in communication with some of you, and I have also shared my email on the slide. So you can take my email and reach out to me. Any question in any way that we can support you to complete your application, please feel free. And thanks for joining us. Kelvin?
Thank you, Phyllis. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kip Korir Kelvin from Victoria Ventures, analyst, supporting DG in partnership with VC4A for selection and documentation, helping you to refine your financial model to be investor ready. Thank you very much, and thank you for joining. Back to you, Stephen.
Thanks, Kip Korir. So, and as mentioned, my name is Stephen Gugu. I'm the one of the founders at Victoria Ventures. One of our colleagues, Wilfred Moria, that you probably met or that you will get to meet, is a team lead for this program and work closely with him. As Victoria Ventures, we do 3 things. We focus on programs which are around access to finance. We run an angel network, the Victoria Business Network, and we do consulting work. And everything we do is tied together with the one vision, which is all around democratizing access to capital. So the program, of course, is not only being done in Kenya, there's also other countries, and that's why we have other logos for the other countries here, Kigali and in Tanzania. So just jumping in to the program itself, So what is a program? It's a program that looks to give you up to 100,000 euros in non-dilutive capital, which is supposed to help you to scale your business. That's in the first round. And if you're able to meet all the milestones or the program, you stand the opportunity to get an additional 200,000 euros after the first 12 to 18 months of the program. I'll speak more about the non-dilutive aspect of the capital and how you're able to get access to that capital. The program on top of that gives you technical assistance where you get experts who work with you to support you on different aspects of your business. It could be that you want to build a really good financial model. You've always wanted to have a good HR person who comes on board and supports you to put together your HR processes, HR policies in this case, or you need someone technical to come and join your team because you've been formulating something and you want that person to come on board and just maybe support for a period of time. That technical assistance is also provided by this program, and that is on top of the funding that you'll be receiving. And the program is available in various countries. In the 3 countries, Kenya, Tanzania, and Rwanda, it is implemented by DG Impulse. But you also have other countries, Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, and Cote d'Ivoire, where it's implemented by GIZ. And so just in case you know other founders in these other markets, feel free to tell them about the program. If you follow our socials for Victoria Ventures, socials for VC4A, or even for DEG, you should be able to get more information around that. And we're happy to share, even the additional calls just in case you'd like to share those across. And so just continuing, the program has been there for a number of years, as you can tell. So far, we've had the program all the way from 2019. And during that time, there's been 8 calls of application with over 2,000 entrepreneurs applying. Of those 2,000 entrepreneurs, 82 have received financing and 25 have gone on to receive the second round of financing. The one I spoke about, the at least 200,000 euros in phase B, which then keeps increasing. And 13 million euros of funds have been committed to the different startups that we're talking about here. Those startups have received some additional follow-on investments up to 40 million euros. And so the beauty about this program is that it's a continuous program. From 2019, you have 2 calls every year. The first call is in the first half of the year. The second call is in the second half of the year. And so that means that if you miss out on a certain call, then what happens is that you can go improve your application. You can then apply. And we've seen a couple of people who've gone through 1 or 2 and then they've received funding. So, just in case, you're sort of like joining because you've done a different call, all the best. If you're starting, also all the best, because we want to make sure that we give the funding to the most deserving startups that are able then to solve the big challenges that we have in the continent. So what are we looking for this program? So there's a whole detailed list that we can speak to, but just a few things here to speak about. The first thing is that you should have received some revenues. So for us, revenues is a signal that you've gone to the market and customers indeed want what you're pushing out into the market. So you should have received some revenues. And the second thing is you should have some matching funds. Now, one of the key questions that we receive over and over is around what are matching funds and how are they interpreted. So for us, what matching funds mean is, of course, in this case, up to 100,000 euros. That's the amount of funding you're receiving. So matching means that it's like for like. So if you're applying for 100,000, we expect you to have at least 100,000 in matching funds. So what are those matching funds? So ideally, they should be equity, but 50% of that can be debt. In this case. So if you're a startup and you received maybe the last 1 month, 100,000 euros or 200,000 euros for that matter, you definitely qualify if that 200,000 euros is equity, number one, or a mix of debt and equity. So for us, for that funding to qualify, it needs to have been received in the preceding 6 months, which basically means any funding that you received from January of this year to June of this year would qualify for this specific application. Of course, there's also situations where you've not received the funding yet, but you're having conversations with investors, and the expectations is that in the next 1 or 2 months, you should be able to get those fundings. You should still apply, because then those would also count towards the criteria of the matching funding in this case. But very important to note here is that we'll only then disburse funding to you once those matching funds have come in this case. Of course, we'll have to evidence the funding in this case by showing us agreements, showing us evidence in terms of that the funds were actually received and they've been used in the business or they're going to be received in this case. So just some additional thoughts for you to have as the criteria that we use for selection. Number one is that you should not have received more than 2 million euros in funding. So we believe that if you've already received more than 2 million euros, in Kenya terms, you're talking about probably 260 million shillings, is that you should be now in a position where you're able to speak to other investors in the ecosystem and they can provide the funding. So this is principally focused on more earlier stage businesses that need to be catapulted to that level to speak to other investors in this case. So you need to be registered as a privately owned company. And so if you're an NGO, for instance, we'll be looking for a privately owned entity, a for-profit entity. That's very important for you to have. And then we need to have at least your first annual financial statements for review. So in the due diligence process, you'll see we'll spend a lot of time asking various questions. So make sure that then you have your first annual financial statements. Of course, you have a financial plan. Ideally, we're looking for innovative businesses, and innovation is not technology, right? I know there's a whole school of thought that thinks technology is the only innovation. Innovation is just that you're running your business with a certain competitive edge. You have a certain view around scaling your business. That's very important for us as we're evaluating you, because as you can imagine, you've just seen that we received over 2,000 applications since the inception of this program. So we're getting a number of applications. So we want to get the most competitive businesses to be able to receive the funding. We also focus on impact. So it's important that you're able to demonstrate the kind of impact that your business is going to be able to achieve or is already achieving in this case. Goes without saying, if you're a female founder, you're highly encouraged to apply for this. Of course, we'll share much more information and learn some more questions as we move along. So if you have any questions, just keep them. We'll be able to answer those in the Q&A. Feel free to also type in the chat, then we can pick them up. So in terms of the application process, first of all, the process takes a bit long. And I'll say that because it takes 6 to 8 months from the point of application, you're going to be receiving your funding at that point. And people at times ask, why does it take so long? The reason it takes long is because we spend time really understanding your business and seeing if you're a fit for this program. Why that is important for us is that we don't want the capital that you're getting from develop ventures to be the only source of capital. We want this to be a signal to other investors that if you've received funding from develop ventures, that then they should be investing in you, because the due diligence process was very thorough, and you probably then should also get additional source of funding. And then, of course, we also want to add value during that due diligence process. So that's once you get to the execution bit, once you receive the grant, you're able to then move on that very smoothly. So in summary, and you can see the process here, the process is into 6 steps. The first step is, of course, what we have, which is the application. So this call is ending on June 30th. We have another call that will be starting 15th of November to 31st of December later this year. But focus on this one for now. After that, we'll take 6 weeks, which is going to be the pre-selection, where we go through all the applications and we select a few that will be going to the pitch stage. Now we'll communicate, of course, to the people who don't go on to the pitch stage and the ones who go to the pitch stage. But in the pitch stage, what happens is that you get to do a 1-hour online pitch where we invite a jury of people who understand your sector really well, and of course the team that you've already seen, and we ask questions to understand whether you're the right fit for this program. And of course, if you pass this pitch stage, the next stage is going towards the due diligence stage. And in the due diligence stage, we spend time with you to understand your business. We'll come and visit you wherever you are. So we visited companies as far as I think we've gone to Meru, we've gone to Nanyuki, we've gone to Mombasa, and so forth. So we come and visit you, spend a day with you, just to see how you run your business and see how we can add value, see whether you're the right fit for the program, and so forth. And so once you're done with the due diligence, in this case, of course, there's a lot of preparation around that, is when we move towards the documentation phase. And this is preparing the documentation that goes on to the investment committee that then makes the final decision as to the funding. Once you get to the due diligence and you're going to the documentation phase, more or less we are certain or we feel that once we take you to the IC, the IC will be comfortable with you. And then, of course, once we're done with that stage is when you get the funding. Important to note is that we'll only write, first of all, a check of 80%. And once you receive the first 80%, then we'll write another 20% towards the end, once you've seen how the milestones that we've agreed on, how they're being achieved and so forth. So that's the process in essence. but happy to share more and to answer more questions as we move along into the conversation. So in terms of the startups that you've seen apply, it's been a mix, but these are some key verticals that you've seen come through. As we mentioned, impact is one of the key things. And so you can see there's a bit of impact in the startups that you're seeing here. So clean technology and energy, a number of startups there. I'm sure you can identify a number of them. Then, of course, health and insurance, a number of startups. I don't want to give anybody a shout out because all these companies have been really good companies. But at least just to show you some of the verticals we are seeing. And of course, food and agriculture, very important, key contributor to the GDP, at least in Kenya. And then, of course, sustainability, finance, and others, right? So you probably then will see a company that looks like you in each of the different boxes. But these are not the only vertical that you focus on. So if you're in another vertical, but you still feel that you fit the criteria that you spoke about, feel free to do that. Probably I should mention that FlexPay is one I want to give a shout out because we're going to have one of the co-founders at FlexPay, Dennis, to come and share his experience about developing a few slides. So just moving on. So why apply? And this is just in case you've just joined, just in case you've forgotten everything I've said. So number one is that you have non-dilutive funding of up to 100,000 euros, right? Now, this is very important for you because it's a grant. Of course, you need to have the matching element behind that. It doesn't dilute you as a founder, it doesn't dilute the other investors. But on top of that, gives you some additional technical assistance. So this is financial modeling. This is what you've seen some of the founders using this for, investor readiness, legal compliance, and so forth. And that's a separate budget that you're getting on top of that, right? And then, as I mentioned, when I spoke about the due diligence, it's a trusted signal to other investors. We've seen investors who are maybe on the fence, and when they hear that Develop Ventures is about to give you a grant, they almost jump onto the other side, or this becomes a signal for them to sort of like follow on and make an investment to you. So please apply. And then, of course, there's access to powerful networks, all within the ecosystem, the alumni, investors, ecosystems, and so forth. And I should also add something else here, that even for those who don't go all the way and receive the funding, the kind of feedback that you get through the entire process, even just being able to put your documentation your documentation together, helps you when you want to speak to any other investors in future. So please make an application, and then we'll see how to support you. Okay, so just some case studies that we just thought to mention. I think most of us may know Pezesha, which is one of the fintechs that is very well known in Kenya. Pezesha is one of the alumni of deloPPP Ventures, has received up to 400,000 euros from the program, and has had significant impact out of that. So in this case, 12,000 additional MSMEs have gained access to working capital. They've created jobs, 20 direct jobs, 200 indirect jobs, and then 7,400 MSMEs saying that they've increased their income by at least 10%. And so these are some of the companies, and I think I also showed you in the previous slides the number of companies that have applied and that have gone through. But lots of companies have received a lot of support from the Develop Ventures program. So without much further ado, I'd like to quickly invite Dennis Karanu, the CFO at FlexPay. Dennis, if you're there, and if you'd like to just quickly put on your video, just 5 minutes. We have not paid Dennis anything for him to be here, but we just thought it would be good for him to just share one or two thoughts about what his journey looks like. Dennis, how are you doing?
I'm very fine. How are you doing?
Very well. I know.
Apologies.
I know we caught you.
Apologies. Yes,
Go
my
ahead.
apologies. I had to park somewhere because the situation is not that good on my way to the office.
Yeah.
So I think I'll have to make what is available now.
Okay. No. Dennis, we'll keep it very short, 10 minutes.
Okay.
I know that there's some demonstrations going on in Nairobi at the moment, so thank you for making time. So maybe just three very quick questions, one-liners.
Yes.
Maybe one is just tell us in one sentence or two sentences about FlexPay, what you're doing and where you're going. Just one or two sentences.
Okay, so at FlexPay, we allow customers to reserve items and pay for them pole pole. So how this works is that, or rather, most customers do not have enough finances to be able to buy their products one-off. So they are forced to either pick very predatory loans from the loan sharks for them to be able to acquire items, maybe household or upgrade any of their items. So we came up with a system that allows customers to reserve items and be able to make savings towards those items and pick them at the end of the purchase period. So it's a save now, buy later kind of model. It's a flip of what buy now, pay later does. At the same time, we have helped merchants, around 800 of them, to be able to reach out to customers who are not able to buy products at a one-off. So these are mostly window shoppers who just come in, see a product, like it, and then go back in order to make their decision. So they've been able to convert these customers into actual shoppers by using our model.
Okay,
Yes, so that's let's say in an overview.
Thank you very much for that. And so
Yes.
you're one of the alumni, I think cohort 6 of
Yes.
the deloPPP Ventures program. So first
Yes.
of all, just simple question. How was your application process? Did you get in first round, or did you have to do a master's and a PhD before you got in?
So I think we got it on the first application. It is a process, yes, because the deloPPP kind of like want to see your product, or rather your service that you are providing, your company has the correct prerequisites, has enough let's say background data, the instructions that you are doing, all those you have to have them compiled and placed in such a way that is presentable. So it was, yes, a task, making sure that all our documents are in the right order, place, and be able to explain what we do in simple words. So other than that, it was a breeze. The team that was sent to do a background check was very much helpful and very understanding, and even offered insights on how we can be able to explain some of what we are doing, because at some point you do it, but you're not in a position to explain how exactly you do it. So it's more of a partnership as they also do the due diligence.
Okay, good to hear. And you got in the first round. I hope everybody gets in the first round, so to say.
Yes.
So if there was one thing that you'd have to tell someone who's applying in terms of things to watch out for or to emphasize as they're making the application, what would that be for you?
Mostly is observe your traction, because the thing that they look out for is the traction that you've had, and or rather, most importantly, is the impact that you make to the society, because you have to be making an impact to be able to uplift either the poor people, some of the SDGs. So you be very keen on those kind of data sets that you have, the ones that you keep. Like, you have to know how many customers you have served, how many are women, how many are young. Those are some of the things that you watch out for. Others, and maybe this one was more of a prerequisite from the deloPPP Ventures. They also want to see that also your investors do believe in your product. So the part of matching funds also, you have to be very keen on that, because I think it's a major prerequisite for you to be able to qualify.
Okay, yeah, thanks. So you said traction, you spoke about impact, and you spoke about your
Yes.
matching funds.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that. And then last two questions. One is you received the funding. So
Yes.
that comes in after you sign. But on top of that, what else do you think you've gotten out of being part of this program?
So being part of the cohort, first of all, is the networks that you create. So as part of the cohort, you're able to access some of the develop activities and events. So you're able to meet your peers, people who have done it before, people who are doing it as you go. So it's a network that you get ingrained in, and you're able to get insights on how to build your business better. Maybe on top of that, you also get technical assistance. So like financial technical assistance, you get a team to be able to help you out to create things like revenue model, be able to measure your impact, all those. So it is a very, it's a continuing network, and you get for being the part of the cohort.
Okay. So I like what you mentioned, the networks that you've received, in this case, the technical assistance. I'm glad that it's been able to support your business. Last question, would you recommend this program? And just to confirm that we have not paid you anything on top of the support you receive from the program, but would you recommend the program to anyone?
Yes, I would. And as a co-founder of a company, I always tell other founders out there that get as much networks as you can, and networks that help you out. The best thing about develop, so you are not losing any part of your company. So I would recommend anyone out there that is willing to apply. It's a good venture to be in, and you get a lot of help and insights on how to grow your business and impact the society.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dennis. I know it was very quick, and thanks for taking time. We wish you that you're able to get to your destination safely. But we appreciate. I hope everyone else in the call appreciates that this was not choreographed. We couldn't have choreographed to get Dennis in the car in the middle of the day. But Dennis, all the best. We really appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. And in case of any questions, I'll be able to reach out and answer.
Okay, asante sana.
Yeah.
So just moving on then, we do want to get to your questions. I've seen a number of questions have already been asked. But just before we move to the questions, we had a quick poll that Felix is going to run. And then after that, we'll open it up to questions. But I hope that the pitch from Dennis at least encourages you that indeed you can get access to funding and there's support there. So the poll is in front of you. 2 questions only. Did you start your application for the deloPPP Ventures program yet? So have you already started? Yes or no? And then 2, what is the status of your matching funds? Very quick questions. And I guess Felix will be able to see the results in a second once we all have responded.
Yeah, maybe we give the crowd a minute to answer these 2 questions. That would give Leah from the DG team just a couple of seconds to introduce herself. We are so happy to have you with us today.
Yes, sure. Thank you, Thomas. Yeah, hello, everyone. Sorry for joining a bit late. We had an internal training, but yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I'm also already looking forward to all your questions. I also want to really encourage you to post them in here. I think it's a great format to yeah, solve any remaining question. I think it will even your process. But yeah, maybe first of all, also some information about myself. I'm yeah, Leah. I'm part of the deloPPP Ventures team since 2 years now here in Cologne. So I'm directly working at DG Impulse, so the leading institution who is directly in contact with BMZ and is implementing the funds. Yeah, I'm mainly involved in everything about portfolio management, especially I'm doing the impact reporting, as impact is also an important component we are looking at when reviewing your application. And yeah, I think that was it from my side for now.
Okay,
thank you, Leah. Over to you, Stephen. I indeed see a lot of questions, so let's get this thing cracking.
Yeah, maybe Phyllis, do you want to? Phyllis, you're
And
sharing
Phyllis,
your
we're
entire
seeing
screen.
your entire screen now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you wanted to share just the poll. You can stop sharing, Phyllis. As Phyllis is sorting that out, I'm seeing a couple of questions. Phyllis, feel free to display the results of the poll. But let me just see some of the questions which have been asked that we can go through. I think Thomas is also here, and Leah is also here, and of course the rest of the team. So the first question from Jonah Chege is: today fasting, coffee, and Twitter. I guess that was answering the question we had asked earlier. The second one is: do you guys fund edtech startups? And Thomas, the direct answer would be?
Yeah, I mean, with edtech, to be very honest, I mean, there needs to be, of course, this. I mean, the impact is quite clear. We definitely looked at some edtech solutions, so we should definitely not stop you from applying. But yeah. It needs to be a case-by-case basis, of course. I mean, but looking at the portfolio, you see more a trend towards agri-tech, fintech, health tech. So yeah.
Yeah, I would also say that, you know, if you meet the criteria, please apply, right? If you meet the criteria, the matching funds, the impact, the 1 year in operations, etc., please make your application. Education has impact written all over it. Of course, we need to understand how you're going to be, you know, providing the impact in this case. Thanks, Adamo. And then someone says, do you have a limit of the number of companies that will be onboarded? Yes, we do. Each cohort, we've ended up having 5 to 6 companies that are finally onboarded. Of course, if we get really, really good companies, we can always, I guess, motivate and say, hey, we have some really good companies. Is there something that can be done? But at the moment, the limit is 5 to 6 companies that will get onboarded. And I'm seeing the results here from the Develop Ventures info session. So 74% of you say that they've already started their application, and
Wow, that's great.
26% have not. We hope that both the 74 and the 26% start and finish by the 30th, right? So we have a couple of days, whether you started or you've not started, to get that over the board. And then the sum in terms of the status of your matching funds, already secured is 20%, in progress is 50%, and yet to secure is 30%. Of course, as we mentioned around matching funds, and I've seen a couple of questions around that. If you've secured, of course, we check the box immediately. If you haven't secured, but you're in the process of securing, you need to do that before the end of the period where the funding, at least we're taking you to IC in this case. Not actually, not, yeah, by IC, ideally. So that then, you know, we can check off that box. So even for those who've not yet secured, if you're in the process, make your application, you will be considered. But as we mentioned, we only disburse funding once we see your matching funds in this case. Thank you for that, Phyllis. And I think there was a question here about matching funds, which was that do we, question, this is Betty, can the matching funds be personal funds from company directors? Thomas, can we find personal director funding?
Yeah, look, this is always like a precious thing, right? I mean, there's some potential for you to indeed invest in the company, but then clearly, and this is super important. I mean, once you receive the funding, it needs to be on an expense base. So, for example, the trick to invest yourself 100,000 and then use the grant to pay back yourself, that is clearly not how the program works. So if you invest in equity in the company, or if you do a top up, then that can be the case. But yeah, again, on a case-by-case basis. The best case is still that you have third-party investors investing in your company.
Yeah. Thanks, Thomas. And then we have a question here about the projections. Is that specific to the project? we are applying for, or for the entire company. We are funding the company, not the project. And so we want to see the forecast for the entire company. But of course, within that, if there's a specific project that you want to really focus on, you can share specific forecast around that. So I would say both, so to say, because we want to see the company and how that grows, but we also want to see how the use of funds is going to be applied. We're going to do quick answers because I think there's quite a number of questions.
Yeah, wow. I mean, really, really impressed. But indeed, like, just to also amplify quickly here, Stephen, because it is important. I mean, this is not your typical grant money program. I mean, DG Impulse really, has a different thinking about grant funding, where, the main goal is to invest in companies and not in projects. Of course, you can use it to fund a certain project, but eventually also given that, this match funding requirement is so important, we want to see, or we want to fund companies and not pilots or projects, so to say.
Okay, cool. Thanks for the additions, Thomas. Now the
Because
next one
that
is
actually helps also with your application. Don't put in like, I want to fund a certain pilot and then amplify on that. So just a quick tip or trick.
okay, cool. Then we have a 5-in-1. Mary Kabiru says, she has 5 questions. I don't know, maybe we'll take one or two first, then we jump to others and we come back to her. So my audited financial reports and projected financial statements that I have attached are in our Kenyan currency. Is that okay? Perfect, that's okay. Not to worry. In the forecast that you'll end up creating, if you can do a hard currency one, maybe in dollars, that would be good, just to make sure that from an interpretation perspective, that's easy, but that's completely fine. Then, unless I'm missing something for Thomas?
I think maybe it's even better to state it in euros, because we always assess everything in euros. So your use of funds, so your cost structure will be also stated in euros. And of course, we disperse also in US dollar. But for us, I think it's to get a better understanding, for example, in your application, when you want to show the costs you would have, or the points on which you would spend the money, it's easier for us to follow if you could present in euros.
Okay, thanks, Leah, for that. And then there's under the financial KPIs in the provided table, there is no space to add KPIs and their projection, and I'm unable to add a table. Kindly guide. Thomas, or should I ask you, Korir?
I need to quickly look at the form. Give me 1 minute to actually address this. Or do you have this on top of mind, Leah? No worries. Let me get into it.
So I'm gonna also propose is just do a direct DM or message, or you can type your email address. For the people who are making the applications, that they have very clear clarifications, we are able to organize for very quick calls, 5, 10, 15 minutes, just to try and respond to very specific questions to your application, because we want to make sure that you are able to present yourself as well as possible. So Mary, I'm gonna skip some questions from you. I'll come back to them because I also want to take questions from other people. I see there's 3 that we've not answered, but we've done 2. So let me just move to Sheila Nyagaka. Do you also require a full financial projection, including a cash flow statement and balance sheet, or would a summarized revenue and cost projection be sufficient? Additionally, are there any preferred templates or formats you recommend we use? I'm going to ask Kipori to respond to this. Kipori?
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. So we require the full financial projection, that is the 3 financial statement, because it will add up to your documentation. So we require the full financial statement, and we'll prefer in Excel template.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. Alvin Joseph, what are the focus what sectors are focused to secure the funding? I feel like I want to ask Leah just whether she wants to just mention if there's some focus sectors that she feels are critical. Leah?
Sorry, again, I didn't get the
The question is, what are the sectors of focus to secure the funding? I'm also happy. I can also take the question.
You mean in which sector your company is active?
Yes.
I think Thomas has already mentioned this. We are a sector agnostic program, so we don't set a strong sector focus. But what is very important for us, or we appreciate business models that have an innovative component. That means we would like to see that your business model is somehow data enabled, technical enabled, digital enabled. That's quite important for us. And then it's always a combination of a traditional sector and a digital component. So we are mainly involved in agri-tech, fintech, health tech. I think these are the three main sectors. Yeah, also of course insurance, something about food, so supply chain management. We have a lot of cooling solutions, for example. But yeah, like I said, we are sector agnostic. We don't have a strong focus. We always try to have a balanced portfolio. And but yeah, like I said, we want to see that your business model is somehow innovative.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Leah. Goes without saying that also impact is important for you to illustrate what kind of impact that you're having. So thinking about the SDGs and so forth. We have a question from Adam. So you don't fund pre-funding, basically MVP, minimum viable product projects. We are still building an MVP, but haven't launched yet. I would say, Adam, not, and the direct answer would be not at this point. But if we move the clock 6 months down the line for the December call for application, if you've made some traction, you generated some revenues, I would ask you to make an application in this case.
Yeah, super important, right? I mean, also don't get discouraged when this is not the right timing for you, right? I mean, also even when you not get selected, I think I saw in the other chat, I saw someone saying I've been rejected twice. I mean, this is not us saying then that means there's something wrong with your business. It's just, it might not be the best fit for this program in specific. And also, again, because of this very strong focus on the matching funding, I mean, yeah, also for some businesses, I mean, finding external capital through equity is not the best way forward. So again, please don't get discouraged. I mean, we all know, or how hard it is to build a business, let alone to build a business on the in emerging markets. So yeah, please also keep up the vibe.
Yeah. And Thomas, maybe you can also respond to, or maybe add on to this other question, where Billy says their financial year the first is ending 15th of July. So his question is, I'm not yet fully 1 year old, but I'm just barely there. He's missing this by 15 days. Can he still apply for this call?
I guess if your application is strong enough, then we can definitely look at it. Yeah.
And maybe to add I don't know if when you're already if you're only 1 year old, maybe here we should emphasize again, we're really looking at companies who are post-revenue. So we don't set a strong revenue target, but at least we have to see some of revenue and strong traction. That's also very important for us. So this is also, we of course can fund a company that is only 1 year old, but yeah, like I said, I don't know if it's then already the right time according to traction. And
yeah, maybe one thing, I mean, the good news also is that, so of course, November 15th, we are opening up a new call. But the moment you already fill in the form for this call, then automatically the information will be uploaded to your next application. And so then, of course, you still need to update it to the latest numbers, but then at least that will give you a head start for the next call for applications.
Yeah, thanks for that. Thomas, I feel as though we already dealt with this question. Can the founders provide matching capital as fresh capital? I think we spoke about that. There is a question by Frank Onyambu. Yeah. So we said, Frank, that the preference is, of course, to get external capital in this case, not funding from the directors. Then Gerishon, direct answer to your question, is the non-dilutive capital, sorry, I'll come to the second question, Frank, is the non-dilutive capital in the form of loans or grants? As we mentioned, this is in the form of a grant, but of course, there will be some, of course, milestones that we'll accept. So we will have to agree on in terms of that you're following through with. And what you'll see is while the funding is a grant, non-dilutive capital, the due diligence process is not a grant due diligence process, right? And that's because we're not just giving you a grant, we're trying to encourage other investors to also fund you in this case. And that's why there's a matching component. So the answer is grants, it's not a loan, but of course we are trying to encourage other investors. So the process will feel much more like we're giving you even equity in this case because of how we'll approach it. Frank, do you have a template for the financial model? Or at least can we provide the must-have parameters for the financial model? Frank, we don't have a template for the financial model. What I would say is for the financial model, first of all, make sure you have a 3-statement financial model, which is you have the profit and loss statement, you have a balance sheet, you have a cash flow statement. Make sure that you have a 5-year forecast, at least in this case, which gives us a sense of what we expect from your business. Of course, make sure that we can be able to see what are the key drivers behind your financial model. We're not just seeing numbers, but you're seeing the drivers and we're seeing the actual numbers which are behind that. And I would say that at least for this point for your financial model, detail is better than summarize because we want to understand your business, right? So if it's too summarized, we won't be able to understand. We want to understand your business and give you the best chance for being shortlisted in this case. Happy to answer more questions around that, Frank. So I'm going to move Alexander Myers. Thanks, Alexander says actually you have some more questions in the chat here. Can you elaborate on how you evaluate or interpret convertible notes? Okay, Thomas, do you want to take this?
Yeah, so officially this is not hard equity. So again, we can look at it as a case-by-case basis. Because indeed it does show that you are able to actually convince other parties to invest in your business. But if it's only convertible notes, then it's also a hard case. But then again, we can definitely look at it.
Yeah. And then for Samuel Mwadi, I am Samuel.
Or Leah, feel free to interrupt.
Yeah.
No. I didn't want to interrupt, but I think maybe here it's also good to mention everything around the debt loan, if we can accept those financing instruments as matching funds. I think it's important to say we can accept a debt or a loan as matching funds, but only up to 50%. So besides this 50,000 of debt, then we want to see straight equity or quasi-equity to have a full amount of matching funds or to have the matching funds requirement fulfilled. So we can't accept 100,000 euro of debt or loan as matching funds. That's not possible because I saw a question if that's possible.
Thank you, Leah. We have 5 minutes only. I was just saying that okay, we can move on. So for Rodaf, let's see, have I missed it? Okay, Roda says funds you have received in the last 2 years, or if your company is younger, since the foundation of your company. No, the funding that qualifies for this. Funding that qualifies for this is funding from January of this year, 6 months, the last 6 months. So anything before 6 months will not qualify for this round of funding. And then for Samuel, and I'm answering really fast because we have only 4 minutes. For Samuel Mwadi, the debt and equity percentages, are they fixed? Yes, they are fixed. I think Leah just mentioned what they are, 50%, up to 50% in terms of debt, and the rest of it has to be equity. In this case, land and equipment, can that be counted as equity? That's a good one, Thomas. If an investor bought in the equipment directly, I guess, would that qualify, Thomas?
I mean, yeah, I mean, so again, this program is very. I mean, of course, we can be as flexible as possible, but now we are. It seems like we are looking at all different shortcuts. I mean, in this case, I would just tell you to just apply. We will definitely have a look, but your application needs to be very strong for these case-by-case basis. I mean, in the end, and this is again also for you to understand as an entrepreneur. This program is of course here to help you as a founder to scale your business, but also to de-risk investment on the investor side. So this can also show to your investors that are looking at you like, hey, this can help to de-risk your investment in this company. And then the forms like land or everything, I mean, still there needs to be some kind of an agreement on certain valuations. But I mean, I would just advise to apply, and then we'll have a look at it.
Okay, Thomas, we have 2 minutes.
And on the working
see.
website is I mean, depends of course on your business. But if you are selling things via your website and you don't have a website yet, then of course it will be a hard story.
Yeah. And I'm just going to also add for the person that, part of due diligence is checking your online presence, right? Good if you remember, there's a lot of applications we are reviewing in this case. So please, you make the strongest application. Malachi, can you accept M-Pesa statements as matching funds? So Malachi, first of all, if you are receiving funding from customers through M-Pesa, that is revenue. That is not capital. When you're speaking about capital invested, we're talking about people who've given you money in exchange for equity or as debt to be able to run your business. And so in this case, I certainly hope they will not give the money in M-Pesa because, it's 100,000 euros in this case or 50,000 euros. So I would say for these, how you phrase the question, I would say no, because that would be revenues. But if, of course, you've received funding as M-Pesa and there's an agreement that shows that, every 6 months we're getting 100,000 or every month to total up to the figure, maybe we can consider that. Just put in the application and, of course, have the evidence of the agreements that show that this is actually equity or debt to the business. Okay, let's see if there's any more
quick
questions.
One from Cartel. I think it's good to quickly mention, do you consider companies outside of Kenya or even outside of East Africa? So definitely, I mean, you can be, or your holdco can be, for example, registered in Delaware or any other jurisdictions, but it's important that your activities or your operations are in Kenya or Rwanda or Tanzania, because this is a multi-country program. But so very much important that your operations are in any of these 3 countries, and it can be also with the expenses. It's important to mention that these expenses need to also be relatable to any of these 3 countries. So you can't, for example, get the funding or the expenses sent to your the funding sent to your holdco and then spend it in Spain or whatever country.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you.
Wow,
Leah.
this was a great session. I must say I'm really impressed by all the questions. I hope it actually helped also for you to get your application in. The team is very much still here to help. I mean, we still have 5 days to go, so let's make it work. Over to you, Stephen.
Oh, thank you. Leah, do you want to say one word in closing?
No, of course. Also, thank you for all your questions. Was really a great session. I think the most interactive info session I attended. So thank you to all of you. And yeah, already for myself, good luck with your application.
Yeah, brilliant. So we hope interactive means that you're just about to finalize your application. We're looking forward to review those, and all the best. If you have any more questions, feel free to shoot those. I think I have quickly, let me just share my slide here. Just the last slide here. Apologies, I'd switched off there for a second. I was enjoying the conversation quite a bit, and I forgot to share these 2 last slides for you, which is just in case you're wondering where to apply. Sorry, is it still working? Yeah. Please scan that to apply. The deadline is June 30th, which is in the next 5 days. If you have any questions, feel free to ask the questions, and we will respond. We wish you a lovely rest of the day, and we shall stop at that point. We like keeping time. It's 12:02, so thank you. Have a lovely rest of the day, and looking forward to see your application or any questions you might have. Have a good day.
Great. Happy Wednesday.
Bye,
Cheers.
everyone.
Good luck with your application.
Bye-bye.